Well, good morning. We are back at Rosewood Estate Winery, back with Ryan. Thanks for having us back.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
It's always such a nice place to visit.
Yeah. I mean, especially at this time of year, really. It's harvest season, so the work for the last 10 months that we've put in the vineyard, it's time to collect.
It's paying off.
Exactly.
I've never seen these nets protecting the vines before. Is this a new thing, or is this an exclusive thing?
No, it's commonly used in the industry, but the main reason for it is simply protection from the birds.
Yeah.
So how grapes have actually evolved with changing color is to signal to the birds that the grapes are sweet and that the seeds are ripe. So when the birds see that the fruit changes color, they fly in, they want to eat the grapes, they know they're sweet. They deposit the seeds, but what we're doing is actually over-ripening them for our purposes for grapes.
Okay.
Or for wine, rather.
Okay.
So we put the nets up to protect them from the birds so that these grapes are nice and sweet. And at this time of the year, we're measuring the sugar, the acidity, and also I'm going through and tasting the fruit and deciding exactly when the skins are ready.
Can I try it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we go through and just pull a couple grapes, and you can see. They're smaller than regular table grapes and not as sweet, but they do have nice sweetness, good acidity, tougher skins for nice tannin and structure in red wine. So this is Cabernet Franc. This will be among the last grapes that we pick. So it's been a great season so far. We've had, the beginning of October, there was that really nice heat wave that pushed the gas on everything ripening, and then followed by a very cold snap, like a cold drop. So that allowed everything to pause, not get overripe, and we can pick it as we're ready.
So it worked out perfectly.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes things work out, but
that's always nice.
So fingers crossed. It's kind of like in hockey. You don't say shutout. It's, you just kind of hope for a great vintage, and we're going through tasting the fruit and picking. Yeah. But it's going to be a later harvest than average. We'll probably be picking this fruit into November.
Into November. Now, what if the weather takes a turn and we get some really cold weather? Then what happens?
Well, as it says, cold is not necessarily the worst in terms of rot, but what it will do is it'll signal to the vine to kind of enter dormancy, and the vines will start to drop their leaves. Okay. Which means they're not going to ripen the fruit as more readily and
as you would want it. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. But we try our best to stay on top of it, watch the weather patterns regularly, and but we've hung through frost in the past, and we've made some pretty exceptional wines as a result. So.
I believe it. Anything else of key that's going on at the winery right now?
Besides harvest, no. I mean, the weather's been beautiful. The patio is nice. We're doing mulled mead, which we'll try a little bit later, and get some fires going on the patio. So it's a nice place to spend October.
All right. With that being said, there's so much more coming up on Morning Live. Well, we are now into the barrel room with winemaker Ryan at Rosewood. And one of the best things about coming back to our favorite wineries is we get to find out what's new. What have you brought out in the last 10 months or the last couple of months? You've got a red and you've got a brand new white.
Yeah, exactly. So these are smaller and unique releases that we like to release around this time of year leading into the holidays, around the harvest season to celebrate the harvest. And they're more of the fuller bodied wines that we do. So for the first time since 2017, we're releasing a single varietal Chardonnay from our both properties, both in Vineland and in Beamsville. And for the absolute first time we've never done before, we have a single varietal Cabernet Sauvignon that we made. We're releasing from a remarkable vintage, 2020. Wow. So the Chardonnay's from 2021 and the Cabernet Sauvignon from 2020. And I'm very excited about these wines because we don't release them every year. They're not part of the sort of regular portfolio that we release. Yeah. So they're both, as of last weekend, now available. But I thought it'd be fun to try in the barrel room and kind of see. Both varietals, Chardonnay and Cabernet Sauvignon, very popular varietals in sort of the Ontario wine consuming demographic. We do ours for people who, sometimes there's a type of consumer called ABC, anything but Chardonnay. And that's...
That's actually really funny.
We're fighting that perception because most people who think that, they just don't like oak. So not all Chardonnay is done with a lot of intense oak flavor.
So it's funny how people get that perception, because I would know that it's oaky, but I wouldn't say that all of the Chardonnays I've tried.
In the late 90s, early 2000s, California had a big boom with, what we affectionately refer to as Chateau 2x4. It's like so much wood that you feel like you're digging splinters out of your teeth.
That's
We'd prefer more kind of elegant, softer style with very minimal oak influence, larger barrels. Of course, we don't use any selected yeast, it's all wild fermented.
Right.
And so aged in these larger 2,000 liter, they're called foudre, French large oak vats.
Okay.
So fermented for 18 months, fermented and aged for 18 months, and fine unfiltered, and we just have a beautiful textured Chardonnay.
Smells good.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at doing the little spinny thing. I try my best.
To begin on the table is always easiest, but it just takes confidence.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that's very nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now what do we do with it?
We're tasting. This is a professional. We're not drinking. This is tasting.
Right.
So.
We're being professional.
Yes, the Cabernet Sauvignon, again, very popular in the late 90s, early 2000s from California. My inspiration for this wine was actually sort of the 1970s Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh.
Much more softer, not as tannic and aggressive. We actually fermented this as a whole cluster fermentation. So we waited until the stems got ripe. We included the stems, and you get this really nice, soft herbal character, but a big structure. So this wine is very special. As I said, we haven't released a single varietal Cabernet Sauvignon from this block yet. And very kind of personal favorite.
And you would never mix red and white in the same glass. We're only doing that for TV's sake.
Yeah.
We're only doing that for television, so we don't do that at home.
Yes, this is tasting,
Cheers.
right? So we're going through. We
We're
have to be
going
efficient
through,
in our
yes.
glassware.
All right, lots more coming up. Next, we're going to be trying some of the delicious honey that they do here right at the estate. Rosewood Estate Winery is where you're joining us today, and things are looking pretty sweet. Not only do you guys do an excellent job of winemaking, but you also have bees right on property and you make your own honey.
That's right, yeah. From the very beginning of Rosewood, the idea was not just to have a winery, but also an apiary, based on the family history from our founders, Eugene and Renata, and Eugene's son, William, our general manager. They have a strong history of beekeeping in the family. So since doors open, we've been selling our honey, and they actually give some of the honey to the winemaking team, and we make mead from it, which we'll be trying a little later.
Oh, I'm excited about that. That's just like a warm honey alcoholic beverage.
Exactly, yeah, really nice in the fall. But in terms of the liquid honey, that's what we do. That's the majority of our production.
Okay.
And in addition to just the regular wildflower honey, we allow the team to kind of experiment a little bit.
That's fun.
And Chef Wesley and his team kind of, based on the tradition of Tabasco and traditional pepper sauce, they wanted to do a hot honey.
Yeah.
So what Wes does is he ferments Scotch bonnet peppers, lacto fermentation, and mixes it with the honey to create a natural hot honey that is absolutely delicious. I mean, I put it on everything.
Yeah, the last time we were here, cameraman Luke got his hands on a bottle and he never stops talking about it. He puts it on anything from pizza to French fries to cheese to you name it, you can use it as a dipping sauce. So it's super easy.
Yeah,
Comes in this cute little bottle.
At restaurants, exactly, yeah. So you can just drizzle it on the top.
Just a little?
And on this plate, we have some grilled grapes that sous chef Sam has prepared on crostini. And this is brie cheese from Guns Hill, fromagerie sort of just outside of Woodstock.
Oh, nice. So everything's local.
That's
I love
right.
that.
Yeah. And it's part of the evolution of our food program is what we want to do. We're not opening the idea of a restaurant per se. What we want to offer is food tastings.
You dabble in it a little bit.
Exactly, as an accompaniment to wine to just sort of add on to your experience and give you a different...
Yeah, because it's not just summertime. I know a lot of people think that they can come to wineries just in the summertime, but it really extends into the fall season. And in my opinion, this is the most beautiful time to come.
Exactly, yeah. It's, all the leaves have changed on the escarpment, and harvest is happening, the fermentation smells in the air. It's really, it's the best time in my opinion.
Yeah,
in
a
this
little
industry.
fireplace on the patio, you get a little snack, you get some grapes, you drink some wine. Really, there's nothing that could be better than that, I think, on a beautiful fall day. Okay, let's try this. It's tempting me. Brie, grapes, hot honey that Luke swears by.
The heat sneaks up on you. We do tell people it's hot honey, not mild, but to sort of sample and use it in your preparation. But
use it sparingly, and then you can dunk it in everything.
Yeah.
That is absolutely delicious, and you got to come here to get it. They have it here in their store. Rosewood hot honey. Coming up, we are going to be trying the mulled mead. Make sure you stay with us. There's a lot more coming up on Morning Live. A beautiful fall day at Rosewood Estate Winery. It is such a perfect cocktail to have while you're sitting out on the patio. The fire is burning, you're cozy, you've got blankets, you're comfy. Mulled mead, tell us about this.
Right, so the tradition of mulling alcoholic beverages is very, very ancient and old, like back to the time with mead as well. So mead, for those of you for people who don't know, who've never tried it before, is simply honey diluted with water fermented by yeast. And from there you can kind of play around any way that you want.
Okay.
So honey is one of the only foods that they say never goes bad, because through the bees' creation of it, they're actually removing most of the vast majority of the water. So it's sitting at about 85 to 90% concentrated sugar without the water. So there's no spoilage bacteria that can make that go off.
Bees are so smart.
Exactly.
They're so much smarter than we are.
Nature is really wonderful. And so in that case too, no yeast can ferment it. So what we have to do is dilute it to the level that we want.
Yep.
And actually, one of the best things is that we can play around with multiple different spices, different other mixtures of either grape juice or apple juice or any kind of barrels. But we really have, since the beginning, had a lot of fun with mulled mead, especially at this time of year.
Yeah.
So mulling is any time you're just sort of heating a mead or wine with any sort of spices that are appealing to you. Warming spices at this time of year. So cinnamon, we use clove in some cases. This is sort of a special proprietary blend of mulled mead that we do, which is a mixture of our legacy cider, so apple cider co-fermented with honey, mixed with a special spiced mead that we make in a pre-bottled form, which is cinnamon, vanilla, and cinnamon, vanilla, and clove.
Oh,
we use
nice.
For it.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
But yeah, exactly. So you heat it up, and we kind of have it out here on the patio with warm fire, and you can picture that,
Oh,
just
yeah.
sort of even extending into Christmas. You've come taking your tree down with the family, and then sit around and have by the fire, a nice glass of mulled mead.
Oh my goodness, it's like holidays are just whipping around.
Right.
Okay, this has been such a great experience. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for coming.
Come to Rosewood Winery Estates. You get Estates Winery rather. You get to experience some mulled mead, sit by a beautiful fire on the patio, buy some wine, and of course, do not forget the hot honey. That's the best. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you very much.